Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who appeared in the divine person of Master Fard Muhammad. I further bear witness that he raised for us a divine leader, teacher, and guide, his last messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I could never thank these two enough for leaving behind for me and my generation a divine reminder that God is present. And that divine reminder is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And in these names, I greet you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Family, listen. As always, man, I just wanted to come and share some of this great news that is in front of us. And that is How to Eat to Live, book number one, and How to Eat to Live, book number two. The Divine Solutions, right? Our real life insurance policies. Because when you get these and you apply these, you aren't looking for your death. You aren't looking for benefits to pass on to somebody else after you die. You're looking, see, when you get these life insurance policies and we apply these, we should be looking for the benefits of life. Woo! Because in here we learn that when God comes, according to scripture, he comes to take away death and to give life and life more abundantly. But he cannot do this without regulating our dietary habits, right? So in here, one of the things that we learn in these science books is that fasting, woo, is our cure, right? Fasting is our cure. And when we're looking at this, he goes on to say that page 41 of How to Eat to Live, book number two, this is chapter 13, and it's entitled Fasting, Eating Right Foods, the Keys to Long Life, right? So he says fasting is a greater cure of our ills, both mentally and physically, than all of the drugs of the earth combined into one bottle or into a billion bottles. Allah, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, has taught me that fasting and the right kind of food are the cure to our ills. He has told me there is no cure in drugs and medicine. And this the world is now learning. We can take medicine all of our lives until it kills us, but we are still ailing with the same old diseases, those pre-existing conditions, those comorbidities, right? So when we are looking, fasting is our cure, right? And when we look at the complete sentence, is with the right foods. Okay, now fasting we know is the basic science of how we purge or empty the body. So when we fast and we go through that process of emptying the body, now it's up to filling it back up with the right foods that promote health, because the body is designed to heal itself, right? So we're not looking to do something to heal it. We're looking to get out of the way, because the body is designed to heal itself. And a lot of times, unless you have medical training, you could be wrong about what's going on with you. And then if you're wrong about what's going on with you, then you would be the first person mistreating yourself. So we look at the science of fasting, right? And fasting with the right food as our cure. So, and he says that fasting is the cure for 90% of our ills. So it's only a small amount of things that fasting doesn't cure. And when we're looking at fasting, it's getting out of the way so my body can do what it has to do. Because when I'm constantly eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks in between, when I'm eating 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, when I'm eating more than one time a day, I'm keeping my body and my energy held hostage in my digestive system. Because when we look at the digestive system, we have the stomach, the pancreas, the liver, the gallbladder, the small intestines, the large intestines. So in each stage that the food is in, it's a from when we chew the food, the first stage, when it's in our stomach, the second stage, to when it's in our small intestines, the third stage, to when it's in our large intestines, the fourth stage, on its way to get out. Digestion isn't over until the removal of the food we eat. So if I've eaten breakfast and my body is still processing breakfast, then I put a snack or lunch. My body now I'm bombarding my body. If we does this make sense? So when we look at fasting, fasting is how I give my body its natural energy and power to naturally heal itself. So because when we look at fasting, fasting takes place where all the action in our body takes place, right? So this is happening in our cells. So because this is what we are made out of. So when we are looking at that cell, right? We have the nucleus, right? You have your mitochondria. You have the different organelles. We have the lysosomes, right? We got mitochondria, the nucleus. We have different organelles that's inside of the cell. When we are constantly eating and we fill this cell up with pollution, or the bacteria invade the cell, viruses invade the cell, we have something naturally in the biology of the cell called apoptosis, right? This is programmed cellular death. So when the cell senses that there's something going on with it, if it's a damaged cell in any fashion, apoptosis programs the death so the body can break it up and it can make a brand new one, right? When we are constantly eating, a poor diet is the number two actual cause of death. The poor diet consists of more than just eating the wrong foods. You can eat the right food too often. You can eat the right food at the wrong time. This is a part of poor diet, right? Overeating, a lack of mastication, all of this defines a poor diet, and it all contributes or causes side effects inside of the cell. It can pollute the cell, damage the cell. When this happens, we have the natural action of apoptosis, but a poor diet will interfere. See, when we are constantly eating all of these meals, the body can't, it doesn't have the energy or the time to perform apoptosis. So now the cell, the damage in the cell persists and it grows bigger, leading into things like cancer and necrosis, damage that the body cannot get rid of. Now, this is where fasting comes in at, right? Because this is all happening inside of the cell. So when we fast for at least 19 hours, right? What happens is it triggers something called autophagy, right? And this is two words. Auto is self and phagy is eat. So autophagy means to self-eat. Remember, this is happening inside the cell. So when we don't eat for at least 19 hours, the cell needs energy to do its job, to stay alive, right? So now inside of the cell, it will take note, right? And if it's a bacteria, a virus, a damaged cell, or organelle, it will target it. It will tag it. And then it will create something called an autophagosome. And it's a two-layer membrane that it will, with everything that it targets, all of the damage, all of the infection, all of the bacteria, anything inside of the cell that it needs to get rid of. It tags it and it encases it into this double membrane called, and it creates an autophagosome. Now, the lysosome, this is like the stomach. This is where the digestion part happens inside of the cell to get rid of any garbage. So now this is transported to the lysosome so it can be breaking down and getting and transported out of the cell, keeping the cell healthy. Now, fasting also, because we aren't eating. So fasting also opens up and triggers apoptosis. So now the body can program. It has two ways to clean up the body: through apoptosis, that is being triggered through fasting, because now the body has the energy and the time to perform programmed cellular death, and through autophagy, right? This is where you are essentially starving the body. So when we don't eat for at least 19 hours, the cell needs energy. So it will go and it will clean up the things that don't belong in the cell. Listen, and it will tag it, right? It will tag it, and then it will encase it and create an autophagosome. It will carry it to the lysosome to be broken down. See, the lysosome is like the stomach. It's acidic. It's like a 2.2 pH. So when things are put inside of the lysosome, it's designed to break it down so it can be removed out of the cell, right? So this is what happens when we trigger autophagy. This is how we clean up the body. So when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us on page 41, listen, of How to Eat to Live, book 2. Fasting is a greater cure of our ills, both mentally and physically, than all of the drugs of the earth combined into one bottle or into a billion bottles. Allah, God, in the person of Mustafa Muhammad, taught me that fasting and the right kind of food are the cures to our ills. He has told me that there is no cure in drugs and medicine. And this the world is now learning. We can take medicine all of our lives until it kills us, but we are still ailing with the same old diseases. See, COVID proved that. So COVID was something that the body could get rid of because it's essentially the common cold, the flu, right? The coronavirus has been here. So now when we are looking, the things that were killing the people were the pre-existing conditions, the comorbidities. So you can take drugs all of the days of your life, but you will still be ailing from the same old comorbidities and pre-existing conditions because it's a lifestyle. So How to Eat to Live is a lifestyle change, because in here, listen, we learn on page 37 of book number 2. This is the key to better health. This is chapter 11, page 37 of How to Eat to Live, book number 2. And listen to what the messenger teaches us. He says, one meal a day and nothing between that one meal will get you a longer life. That is, if you eat the proper food. We make ourselves sick. Do not think that sickness is something that just comes by itself, regardless to how we live. It is the way we live that makes us sick. So the way we live, the effects of the way we live is carried out here in the cells. So the way you live will make you look older. That's your cells. It's skin cells, right? The way we live will wear out the stomach. It's cells. In other parts, the liver, cancer is the abnormal growth of our cells. But listen, apoptosis is supposed to get rid of cancer cells. It's supposed to program the death. of any damaged cell inside your body. But the way we live makes us sick by eating two, three more times a day. It interferes with apoptosis. But fasting, see, when we stop eating for at least 19 hours, we now re-trigger apoptosis. And we also activate autophagy. So now you got two mechanisms. Autophagy will simply clean up the cell, but apoptosis will program the death of that cell so your body can create a brand new one. Listen, do we understand how deep that is? Do you understand with the knowledge and the power that we were blessed with in these books? Because the world has been enslaved by the idea that you can't live as long as you want to live. The world has been enslaved by the idea that you have a determined set time to die. Well, hold up, listen to me, because we got a new way of thinking right now. Listen, page 52, How to Eat to Live, book number 1, chapter 19. Allah God has taught me in the person of Master Fard Muhammad how to eat to live so that I also may teach you. He desires to extend our lives from the short span averaging 62 years to one of 1,000 years, or for as long as we desire to live. Listen to this. Listen. He said there is no set time for us to die. We kill ourselves daily by means of what we think, what we eat, and what we drink. See, we've been set free from the bondages of premature death. We've been set free from the bondages of disease and sicknesses. Because scripture says when God comes, he comes to take away death and give us life and life more abundantly. How does he do this? It's not abracadabra. If the things that you are doing cause your death, then it must be the things that you do that cause you to live. Woo! Listen, that's mathematics. If the things you do cause your death, then it must be the things that you do that cause your life. So we have been blessed twice. How to Eat to Live, book number 1. How to Eat to Live, book number 2. Listen, I just wanted to come and share the benefits and the beauty of fasting as taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So now when we have went through this process of cleaning ourselves up, now we have ignited the process of apoptosis, of programmed death, so we can get a new cell, right? We've autophagy cleaned out the cell. So now that we have these clean cells, right? Now that we have these clean cells, we introduce the right food. See, we introduce the right foods. Now listen, I'm gonna give us a clue. See, because when you clean up the cell, you're healed physically. When you clean up the cell, you heal, you no longer have that imbalance physically. See, when you clean up the cell, you don't have cancer, sickle cell, right? AIDS, lupus, herpes. When you clean up the cell, you've made the body healthy. So now what is the right foods? See, when we look at page 102 as a reference of How to Eat to Live, book number 1, page 102, listen to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says. And this is beautiful appearance and long life. The main purpose of this teaching, How to Eat to Live, is to prolong our lives. Woo! Listen, the main purpose of this teaching, How to Eat to Live, is to prolong our lives. So now when you got a way to clean up your cells and you got a way to make a brand new cell, right? The right foods are for the prolongation of life. So in here on page 170 of How to Eat to Live, book number 2, he says, how to eat to live. Eat that food that Allah has prescribed for us. Even take simple things such as beans. Allah God says that the little navy bean will make you live. Just eat them. He said that to me that even milk and bread would make us live. Just eat bread and milk. It is the best food. He said that a diet of navy beans would give us a lifespan of 140 years. Oh, oh. Listen, yeah, I'm gonna read that again. He said a diet of navy beans would give us a lifespan of 140 years. So now we have a way to cure the cell. Now that we have a way to clean up the cell, now that we have a way to heal the cell and make the cell healthy, now the next thing we should be doing is putting the building blocks in it that give us long life. And this is just by not eating. You listen, you haven't bought anything. So I know people are selling things and they say, hey, take this, take that, and it'll help. But hold up, if you stop eating, you have two mechanisms that will be activated if you just stop eating for at least 19 hours. That's free. That's fun. That should be relatively easy because all you have to do is don't eat. Mm. You could do everything else in the world, but just don't eat for at least 19 hours. And your body, that your when we say the body is designed to heal itself, it has to be activated with fasting because that's when autophagy happens. Remember, we are cells. So everything in that's going on physically in us has to be at a cellular level. Okay, anything that the cell could be going through. We have a double dose, a double down on how we can clean it up. We interfere with it, apoptosis, by overeating. So when we stop eating, we activate it. Then we activate autophagy. So we clean it out. We clean it out. And then we program, if it needs to be a death or a new cell made, we can program the death of that damaged cell and the body will create a brand new one. That's it. This is the science. This is cellular biology, man, as taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I want to close and I thank you all for tuning in. I just wanted to come with this science as a healthcare practitioner. I always strive to scientifically prove the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad because other scholars, other scientists, they seek to disprove. They talk bad about the milk. They talk bad about the greens. They talk bad about the choices of bread that we see in. It makes it look like we don't know what we're talking about. But no, because all of the science that on fasting, intermittent fasting, all of the science on one meal a day, the OMAD diet, all of the science on being a vegetarian, not eating meat, for at least the black community. I can't speak for the world, but for the so-called American Negro, nobody was teaching that to us, for us, or among us until July 4th, 1930. This is here's the facts. Published books, How to Eat to Live, 1965, How to Eat to Live, Book 2, 1972. But before that, these are articles and writings of the messenger that were compiled into these books from God in person. Master Fard Muhammad knocked on our doors and ate with us and taught us about eating to live. So July 1930, we had that historical appearance of how to eat to live, that knowledge, right? So as a scientist and as a believer and as one who applies and benefits, man, I want to just say to the world, yes, it does work. And it's fun and easy. Man, it's fun and easy. It's fun and easy. You're gonna save money, make money. You're gonna be healthier. You're gonna look better, be stronger, live longer. That's fun and easy, family. That'll be the funnest and easiest thing you will ever do because you're saving yourself. All praises due to Allah. So, family, listen, I thank you all for tuning in, and I'm your brother. I leave you as I came in the greeting words of peace. Get your get your copies. www.noi.org, www.finalcall.com. I believe right now they're only $5 a piece. So for $10, you can invest in the best life insurance policies in the world because you will not be buying these expecting or looking to die. You will buy these, apply these, and expect and look to live. Woo! I leave you as I came in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.